What's going on, everybody? So today we're going to talk about setting realistic goals for yourself. Maybe it's throughout the season, or it could be from trip to trip. And there's a lot of different factors that go into that. You know, what kind of land are you hunting? Are you hunting predominantly public land? Are you hunting a private property that you own and that you've managed to the T? You know exactly what deer are there, and you know the deer are there consistently, and you've got them patterned. Are you hunting by permission, private ground that you have permission on, but you really don't have any control over what is planted? You don't have mineral sites ran. Also, you know, have you ran any cameras? Do you even know what's on property to hunt, you know, to pursue? What time do you have available? Is this a quick 7 to 10 day trip, or do you have the entire season to hunt this property and see what's available and maybe hold out a little bit longer? You know, your skill level. Are you a new hunter and you're really getting things figured out? Maybe it's not realistic to set that goal to shoot, you know, that 180-inch deer that we all want to shoot and long to harvest. Maybe that's not a realistic expectation. Is the key there. Expectation doesn't mean it won't happen, but maybe don't expect it. And you know, don't forget that it's your tag. Use it in the manner that you want to use it. As long as it's legal, who gives a damn what anybody else thinks? You know, social media nowadays is insane. Everybody wants to give their own freaking opinion on what you need to be harvesting, how you should be hunting. Crossbows are legal. If you want to shoot a crossbow, freaking shoot a crossbow. You know what I mean? If you don't have time to put the practice in and really want to learn archery, how to shoot an archery, or even you don't even have a desire to learn it, you know, who cares? It's legal. Do it. If your state allows baiting, you know, I mean, it's legal. If that's what makes you happy and you want to do it, who gives a darn? You know, if you want to shoot a spike, the first thing you see, shoot it. No one cares. So if anybody gives you trouble about that kind of thing, just don't even, it doesn't even matter. So it's your tag. Use it how you want to use it. Be happy with how you want to hunt. That's really, at the end of the day, that's all that matters. And set that realistic goal. And when it comes to the goals, it comes back to that happiness. If you're setting unrealistic expectations for yourself, unrealistic expectations for that property, and you end up harvesting a smaller deer than what you wanted, or you don't harvest a deer at all, and you leave disappointed, that sucks. That really, you know, it defeats the purpose of why we do what we do. Hunting is supposed to be fun. Hunting is supposed to be enjoyable. We love doing this. Some folks have the ability to pursue a larger animal and pass on smaller animals. Does it does it mean that they're unhappy shooting a smaller buck? Not at all. What that means is that they would rather spend more time hunting and actually put time in the tree and pursue an animal of maybe a larger class, because they have the ability to, either on their property or even skill level. So, you know, set those realistic expectations. I hunt predominantly public land, and I need to be really realistic about what to expect going into a hunt. If I'm going to Kentucky, I went to Kentucky this last year for the first time. We did an early season hunt. I've ran cameras there, so I know there's big deer on property, and I knew that I had a decent chance of harvesting a good deer, but I also knew that it was early season. It's going to be warm, so these deer aren't going to be on their feet very long, and you know, during daylight they're not moving very far. It's going to be a tough hunt, and it's, again, the first year I've actually hunted this property. So running cameras and scouting, you're going to gather a ton of intel, but it still doesn't beat the intel that you're going to gather actually while hunting and seeing how these deer are going to move. So going into that hunt, we had to be realistic. And if we ended up harvesting, you know, a good buck, fantastic. But we knew there were good bucks there. You know, so South Dakota, going to that South Dakota hunt, I had already harvested a big 9-point in Missouri and a big 8-point in Iowa. So for me, kind of the pressure was off. And in years past, we've had a lot of success on this property, but we weren't able to actually put the time in and work in the scout like we have in the past. So going into the hunt, we knew we had a shorter amount of time and we didn't have as much intel built up. So we had to keep our expectations realistic, even though we know we've got deer on the wall from that property. We know there's big deer there and there's potential of shooting a really big deer, but time allotted, we didn't have the time to actually put in to possibly harvest a deer like that. Big deer take a lot of time. There's fewer of them, and boy, they are experts at surviving. So we needed to be realistic about that. And actually, when we got to property, we found out that they've been hit hard with EHD. The mountain lion population is way up. So people are having trouble seeing deer, period. And you know, locations that we typically year after year were hammered with buck sign, very heavy deer activity, were barren. They weren't even there. So we had to get real creative and try to find spots that were producing deer. We ended up finding it, and Dakota shot a fantastic little 8-point. And you know, that was his first self-filmed buck. It was awesome. He was happy as hell with that deer. You know, just because we're putting that we got running a YouTube channel doesn't mean that we have to, you know, only harvest big massive deer. We're still very realistic people. We're just normal dudes out there just enjoying the woods and having fun. I tend to have more time to hunt than most, so I like to hold off a little bit longer for a little bit nicer deer. But going to, you know, these new states that I'm going to be going to, I still have to keep a very realistic expectation that, you know, shooting a 150-inch deer might not be what ends up happening this year, at least on that property. Maybe I harvest a 120, or I don't even harvest anything. I just collect a lot of data, I get some good video, and I had a good trip doing it. So do I leave there upset that I shot a smaller deer or I didn't shoot one at all? Not at all, because it was a fun trip. I enjoyed it. And that's really what it's about. And you know, use your tag how you want to do it. So don't set expectations for yourself that are so high that they're so unrealistic you can't accomplish them. I'm a goal-driven kind of guy, so I like setting very high goals. It's what I do. But I still need those goals to be realistic in a manner that I still feel accomplished during my season and I have fun doing it. Even though I want my goal is to shoot a big deer and I'm really working hard to do that, if it doesn't happen, I'm not going to be overly disappointed that it didn't happen, because I still have set realistic expectations for myself. So thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget, use your tag how you want to use it. Don't be worried about what everybody else is doing in the hunting industry. It's really unfortunate that so many people are putting down other hunters. We've got so many other bigger enemies to fight that I don't understand why other hunters are putting other hunters down in the industry. It really makes no sense to me. So please hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see y'all in the next video.